on Pakistan's 2018 and 2021 action plans came under discussion. On the 2018 action plan, this was the consideration of our 11th report to FATF. And FATF has now acknowledged by consensus, which is important to emphasize, that all action items have been largely addressed by Pakistan. The 2018 action plan has been closed and no pendency of action remains on part of Pakistan. On the 2021 action plan, which was mostly related to money laundering issues, Pakistan submitted 3 progress reports in total. I'm very pleased to announce that Pakistan has completed the entire 7-point action plan a year ahead of the given timelines. This speaks volumes about the comprehensive reforms that have been carried out in Pakistan in the AML-CFT domain and the sustained momentum of our efforts and the result of the efforts also. Because as you can see, the first action plan took us much longer. This action plan we have actually ended before timeline. And this is something which was very well recognized throughout the plenary by all the members. Pakistan's positive and speedy progress was greatly appreciated and welcomed by FATF members. Now, FATF has acknowledged completion of both action plans by Pakistan, the progress made and recognized by our commitment to improve our AML-CFT systems. Consequent to the fruitful discussions held in the plenary, the FATF has decided by consensus that Pakistan has addressed all technical benchmarks and has completed all requirements of both action plans, that of 2018 and that of 2021. As a result of this, what we consider to be no less than a Herculean feat and a remarkable achievement, FATF has now authorized an on-site visit of its technical team to Pakistan to validate the process of implementation of reforms. Now, let me emphasize over here, because there might be some confusion. This is part of the procedure of taking Pakistan out of the grey list. When you authorize a country's removal from the grey list, the second step is, or the first step is, that you authorize an on-site technical evaluation, which has been done in this plenary. The successful completion of FATF action plans and its formal endorsement by FATF means that Pakistan is one step away from exiting the grey list, inshallah. The on-site visit is a procedural requirement. It marks the beginning of the end process that will eventually culminate in the exit of Pakistan from the FATF's grey list, inshallah, and hopefully forever. We are closely working with FATF to arrange the on-site visit at mutually convenient dates with a view to conclude the entire process before the October plenary 2022. During our interactions on the sidelines of the FATF plenary, we stressed Pakistan's high-level political commitment to strengthen our AML-CFT regime and bring it at par with global standards. We have been highlighting complete national consensus, and I cannot emphasize on this enough. And I can assure you that it is this government's commitment that we will take this forward with national consensus, and we will celebrate the national consensus, inshallah. I want to take this opportunity to also stress once again that Pakistan's cooperation with FATF and the international community is grounded in our strategic objective, in our own strategic objective of strengthening our economy and improving its integration with the international financial system. I'm confident that with this good news from FATF, it will restore confidence in our economy and will give us a much-needed boost, improve investment climate, and a robust AML-CFT compliance systems. I also want to acknowledge, in fact, I really want to emphasize on the tireless efforts of our teams who have really done a tremendous job and burnt the midnight oil in achieving all of these strenuous, difficult, complicated targets. This was indeed a whole-of-country response, and I think that is something to celebrate. Multiple departments, agencies, both at the federal and provincial levels, have contributed to this national cause. It also demonstrates that when we work together, all of country, all of nation, we can achieve sometimes what is considered to be impossible. I also want to say that this is going to be a cross-government effort. I really want to emphasize that because I know a lot of talk has been done about it. This is an effort for the state of Pakistan. Governments will come and go, but Pakistan's consensus and Pakistan's efforts on this, I hope, will continue in stride. I want to convey our gratitude to our international partners and friends for their understanding, for their constant support and cooperation throughout this lengthy, arduous process. By the grace of Allah, Pakistan is in a position now that it can not only can it sustain its trajectory of reforms well into the future, but also really, and that's what we look forward to, provide guidance and technical support to other countries in this area. We feel we are a little bit ahead of the curve. In fact, we are quite ahead of the curve. We want to sustain that. We want to sustain that place, continue to be ahead of the curve, to remain there. And really be, in some ways, a model for other countries to follow. I know that we are far ahead within the financial regulatory systems, within CFT legislation, within AML legislation, within the PAC, within the region, but we're also looking very good when you compare us against international benchmarks. And I'm sure that we will be fully prepared for on-site visit, and we will exit the grey list at the earliest, inshallah. With that, I come to the end of my statement, but I want to emphasize over here one thing that we, as a nation, must remember and respect. That is some issues related to the confidentiality requirements within this. In the past, I want to emphasize this at the very outset. In the past, our urge to share news has harmed us. Okay, so I hope you noticed that we were very, very careful in allowing the plenary to take the decision, to announce the decision, because you can never prejudge. And any time you try to prejudge and speak before your time, it has always come back to hurt you. So this, as a nation, not only as a government, is something that we need to do well in order to complete the start of the end. And this will not be the end, because this will be, inshallah, then a new beginning, where Pakistan is looking towards strengthening its own systems according to its own requirements, and get out of the requirements of having to report to others, but continue to report to itself. It was quite unprecedented. We were, in fact, the only country which has had 2 simultaneous action plans to implement. And that's why I said it was tedious, it was arduous, it was difficult, it was technically, requirements were cross-agency, cross-institutions. There was legal frameworks to take care of, there were amendments to do, and then there was institutionalization of those amendments of the new laws. Building of structures, building of systems. So really, I think it's too early to celebrate, because I genuinely believe that once, you can't prejudge anything. We have an on-site visit, but we have started the process, as I said. And within that context, yes, we were the only country ever in the history of FATF to go through 2 simultaneous plans, action plans at the same time, one of 2021 and one of 2018, as you well know, which was a total of 34, working points altogether. I think at this point in time, we can be positive about our journey. We have the luxury to be positive about our journey, because give and take, eventually, whatever we did was in Pakistan's interest. It strengthened Pakistan's systems to enable Pakistan to be to be seen and to be also a responsible country, which is, in some ways providing a model of legal framework now to the world. We have always emphasized that FATF must remain apolitical and technical and impartial, obviously. This is an emphasis that we have always done at every interaction that we've had, and we would hope that will continue. Vis-a-vis, why did it not happen before? This was very intensive process. The action plan was minutely detailed. It required many, many actions, as I've just explained, at many, many different levels. So it was obviously time consuming. जहाँ तक आपका सवाल था कि जी हम हमेशा hopeful होते थे, मेरे नज़र में आपको you should be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. And I hope you saw some of that being reflected, how this government took this up, because you need to be, and this preparation was over the last many years, so we absolutely are willing to share credit with whoever wants, a piece of the pie. हम तमगे देने के लिए भी तैयार हैं जिनको credit चाहिए. I think this is a battle for Pakistan. This is not a battle for anyone at all.